Hello everyone and welcome to Chapter 18 in our Python 3 Basics tutorial series. In this chapter we're going to talk about two concepts, but hopefully we'll be able to cover them fairly quickly. The first one will be raw input. Raw input is a built-in function to Python where it allows you to get input from whoever is using your program. So this can be useful for any sort of text-based GUIs or even GUIs with Windows where you might allow a user to type into, say, a text field their name or something like that. So we're going to cover raw input here, which actually in Python 3 is just plain input. If you're coming from Python 2.7, for example, then it is raw input, or if you happen to see a Python 2.7 script, they will call it raw input. Here we call it just input for Python 3+. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. And the second topic we'll cover is statistics, the statistics module, which allows us to generate the mean or average, median, mode, standard deviation, and variance. All pretty useful, and it comes in Python 3, but not Python 2.7, sadly. So you've always, up until Python 3, people have always had to create their own program, or their own function rather, to generate these things. But very simple in Python 3, so good to show. Let's get started. So for example, with raw input, or rather just input, we could say name equals input, and then parameters. You could leave this empty, and they would just type, but the problem with leaving it empty is the user is not really given any sort of cue that they need to type. So maybe if you had a window with a text field, you might, on the other side of the text field say, hey, name, colon, or something like that. But as far as just being a text-based GUI, if you don't actually put any sort of text there, how would the user actually know that they're supposed to type? So with that, let's go ahead and say, what is your name? Question mark. And then right on the other side of this is where the user will type. So I like to just go ahead and put like a colon and then a space. If you don't add that space, the user's typing will be like right there, and sometimes it just looks weird. So I just add kind of a space there to make a space. Then, after we get the user's name, let's just have the program print out hello name. And that's it. Very simple. So let's go ahead and save and run that. And so you can see here the program is asking, what is your name? Let us say your name is Jeff. Hit enter, and it just says, hello, Jeff. So that's really it to raw input, hence why I want to combine these, because there's not too much more to raw input. Now let's cover, or just input rather. I keep wanting to call it raw input because that's what it was in Python 2.7. So we'll say input from user is that. For now, I'm just going to comment this out because we don't need it every time we run the next stuff. Now we're going to show the statistics module. So to use this module, it does come with your vanilla installation of Python 3, but you will have to import it. So we'll do import statistics like that. And now we're going to need some sort of example list to use. So we're just going to use xlist like that equals, and then here just make up a list. You don't have to copy my list exactly, but feel free if you really need to. So 5, 3, 2, 9, 7, 4, 3, 1, 8, 9. Okay, so there's my example list. Now we can use the statistics module to find, say, the average of this list. So we'll say x equals statistics dot mean, and then we want to use the mean of example list like that. So now we will just do print x, save and run that. And we get the mean is 5.1. Next up, we're just going to run through all of the things that we can do. So let's say x equals statistics dot median, and then again we'll use ex lists, print x, 5.1, and the median is 4.5. Next, we'll get the mode, so we'll say x equals statistics.mode, example lists, print x. So we got an error here because there were two equally common values for the mode. I'm going to say we're having trouble with, let's see, 3 and 9. So let's add another 9, and let's run this one more time. And this time it says the mode is 9. Originally we threw an error because there was 2 3s and 2 9s. So that's why the mode threw an error for me. Next, let's make some more space here. Next up, we'll say we're going to do standard deviation. This is definitely a very popular one. It's really nice that they have this straight built in. So statistics.stdev.exlist. So this gives us the standard deviation. Oops, we never called it to print, so I'll say print x. So our standard deviation 3.04 and so on. I'll just have it print x here now. And then finally we can do variance, a little less used. Usually standard deviation or covariance is going to be used, but we'll do variance here. Statistics.variance, and then again xlist, print x, save and run. And now we get all of our data again, so mean, median, mode, standard deviation, and variance. Oh, and I meant to say correlation, but correlation is not included here. Earlier I said covariance is used instead of variance, but I meant to say correlation. Anyway, so that's the statistics module and the input from a user. Both very useful, especially mean. I find myself using mean a lot, and then also standard deviation. Both of these had to be programmed yourself, as far as I know, in Python 2.7, whereas here you just import statistics and you use it. Just makes it really simple. Now with that, that's going to conclude chapter 18. The next chapter, what we're going to be concerning ourselves with is imports and import syntax. So importing modules is a nice thing to have, but as you can see, like for example, especially with like variance, just to reference that variance, you know, like say we want all we wanted from the statistics module was variance, but we're going to use it a lot, let's say. Typing all of this out, that's a lot of text. I mean, it's not horrible, but if you had to type it out over and over and over, you'd get really tired of doing it. Also, just the word statistics, at least for me, is kind of a pain to type. It's just a weird word to type on a keyboard. So anyway, there's a lot of ways that you can import modules and use specific syntax depending on what your end goal is for importing that module. And there's a lot of ways that you can utilize shorthand and all of that. So that's what we're going to be covering in the next chapter. Stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching.